Are we on the internet?
We're back, baby!
Oh my God, it's been forever, Danny.
It has been so long since I've seen your face look like that.
Well, what's it look like?
Wonder and joy, Brian.
Yes!
Wonder and joy.
I mean, I haven't worked in months. It's been amazing. I'm relaxed, I spent the entire day in bed eating Doritos and
I'm so glad to know that you haven't been working at all. That's just fills my heart with joy.
It's been great, but we're back now, and tonight we are discussing a whole bunch of episodes. We're going to start getting into everything as the show comes back from when we left off, when we picked up on the hiatus, all the way until now. Tonight is very special because we have Matthew Mercer, Laura Bailey, and me. I'm back.
You're back, baby.
We're back, baby! All that and more tonight on Talks Machina. All right, we're back. Woo! It's so weird. We're doing this show from the comfort of each of our homes,
Yeah.
How's everyone? It's not the same. No, I miss the couch, the cuddles, the Danny stares that just sort of, eat into your soul and your mind.
Don't worry, those are still here.
I know
But it's also weird because I feel like at this point, like we've all gotten so used to Zoom that it's like it does kind of feel like you're still hanging out with people now. You know what I mean?
It's true.
It feels
It's
like
true.
I'm sitting in front of you guys.
It's true. Yeah,
I just miss Henry.
I know he's asleep somewhere. It's a little complicated to do a Henry cam setup, but we'll figure something out
At some point in the future.
We'll figure something out as the weeks go on. But yes, welcome to the new sort of version of Talks. We're going to be bi-weekly, as we've announced, every other Tuesday, and we're going to be discussing 2 episodes at a time. Instead of just one. So that'll be great. And we're going to, as you know, because the time is soup and it's gone, time disappeared. We're living in the world's longest march of all time, I think. We're not able to take fan questions because all of you wonderful people have not seen these episodes yet that we're going to be discussing. So our wonderful lore master. Oh, that happened while we were on hiatus as well.
Yep.
Our incredible Danny Carr has a new title at the company.
Hey.
She has gone from runs the show to lore master.
Yeah, lore keeper.
Lore keeper, sorry.
Same
lore
thing.
master, lore keeper.
Same thing. I mean, ultimately, we pay to preserve your brain. Like we do Matt. We've insured Matt's brain for $10 billion. No, I don't know.
We have.
With inflation, who knows what those numbers.
Don't spread these words. Weirdly,
yes.
Travis keeps running me over in the neighborhood. I'm like,
But yes, we're so happy for you, Danny. And it's such a well-deserved title, and you're just such a valuable part of this whole thing, and I'm sure the fans have missed seeing you as much as they've missed seeing Laura and I.
Yeah, definitely you and I, Brian.
And Matt. And Matt too. Matt's big on social media. So we're gonna there's no announcements.
Matt's huge in Europe.
He's huge and big in Japan.
Less and less big on social media as the world continues.
Yeah.
Matt, what's behind you there? What do you got behind you tonight? What's the describe the backdrop that you chose for tonight for us?
Well, obviously, I assume the post team will present a very magnificent landscape to help frame the space surrounding me. This is my first time using a green screen, and I'm already regretting it. It's a big tribute
to TravelerCon, and I appreciate it.
There you go.
Oh,
See?
It is kind of a tribute to TravelerCon.
Shade's a little light, but it'll work fine.
Yeah.
What kind of landscape are you hoping the post department puts in for you, Matt? I mean, now's your chance to really get what you want out of.
True.
No.
First...
I fear by defining anything, it'll be the exact opposite. So I'm gonna leave it to chance.
I understand.
I trust in our post team to be respectful, but also a little dickish, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
Okay. Okay. I understand. Something that's really cool about this sort of new edition of talks. Oh, new edition. This new edition of talks that we're doing is the questions are coming from Danny and myself and our production team, et cetera, et cetera. And, but we're still going to have cosplay. We're still going to have fan art, all that good stuff. We have tons of stuff to choose from. The fan art just won't be from the most recent episode of the show.
Right.
But we have so many people submit amazing cosplay. We could literally have 5 years worth of cosplay winners. So thank you all so much. Please keep submitting for those. Even though our question threads and all that stuff aren't going up every week, you can still send all that stuff in. So tonight we are discussing episodes 108 and 109 of Critical Role Campaign 2. We're still on Campaign 2, right?
Yeah, we are.
If we're not, I'm really messing this up. I haven't been paying attention.
What's going on, you guys?
I don't know.
Man, some pretty crazy stuff. I actually watched both of these back to back today. So
Oh, wow.
I'm fresh, and I feel like I had absolutely the wrong expectations for Traveler Con. but meaning that I was surprised in the best way.
Did you think it was going to go like really well?
No, I thought there was going to be some sort of epic battle that took place, to be honest with you. Like I thought it was going to end up being some sort of a, like, obviously not what anyone was expecting, not what anyone thought, but I really thought it was going to end up being crazy. I didn't think there was going to be, first of all, we need to get my lady some dice, because the performance check of 6 or whatever that first one was on her first thing. Oh, man.
It was so epic.
She turned it around. She turned it around.
She did turn it around. She was able to get up again and go, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Matt, for you specifically, this tug of war between the
Tug of war.
the tug of war with the Moonweaver's influence, how much of that did the Traveler and Jester's interactions during that tug of war influence him not going back to the Feywild?
Oh, God. I want to know all these things.
Yeah, we were dying to know.
This is so exciting. I'm so glad we're doing talks again. And
That's
I
why
actually
we're
get to have some,
back.
like, insight into these things.
Yeah, you can tell us.
Well, I mean, a lot of the TravelerCon preparation was no preparation. I was kind of leaving that entirely in the hands of the players and Laura and kind of what they wanted to plan. And it was very reactionary from my standpoint, and as such, the Travelers as well. So when they began to make this plan with the Moonweaver and kind of watch it happen in my head, it was like, okay, well, the Moonweaver isn't necessarily happy about, taking on the images and the icons and kind of essentially co-opting elements of her worship, but also isn't a vindictive deity necessarily. And having somewhat of a similar Fey history as Artagan, the more of a deific standpoint, I knew that this encounter, depending on how far they went into and leaned into the Moonweaver's kind of symbology and appearance, there would be a punishment involved, at the very least to take Artagan down a few pegs. So based on the interactions between Jester and Artagan in this, he wasn't going to be actually banished. It was a way for the Moonweaver to essentially scare the shit out of him and play a trick back on Artagan.
Okay.
Like, oh, you think you're a trickery god? Well, welcome to the original trickery god, bitch. That kind of a feel.
So there was no chance that he was actually going to, like, go away forever.
No. Not as part of this.
Interesting.
But there was a possibility of him just vanishing for a while. and leaving.
How long
you
is a
all,
while?
And probably a session or so.
Oh, okay.
Just enough to where basically if the entire interaction with this the planetar that had arrived, in the sight of the Moonweaver, there was no sign of humility or a change in Artagan in this scenario, then it would have been like, all right, I'm going to put you in timeout for, a few days or so and let everyone stew in that space. But based on Jester's interactions, based on her seemingly wanting to sacrifice herself to go with him for a moment, to Artagan kicking her away to save her, it was just enough of these beats and these moments to show the Moonweaver and the avatar that she had sent, like, okay, maybe this isn't the same, troll of an archfey that she had known for an extended period of time, and was like, all right, maybe this is just enough. Maybe this is enough of a lesson. So that was that was my mindset going on. And like I said, when we get to that moment, it's just kind of letting things go as they happen. Like all my favorite moments in D&D are when preparation is out the window, or in this case, there was no real preparation, and just kind of seeing how things naturally felt. So that was where it went.
Bam, man. Okay, Laura. So based on your reaction there when he said that, what were you thinking during that moment about, like, were you thinking this is it? Like, he's going to be gone? Or were you thinking,
I thought that Artagan was going to be taken away, and I just was going to be.
Did she freeze, or is that just me?
Did I freeze?
Oh, you're good now. You're good now. You're good now. You're good now.
Oh, it says my internet connection is unstable. Hold
You're stable
on.
now.
Oh, just like the rest of the world.
Wi-Fi? Hold on. Am I back?
Yes.
You're back.
Okay, I changed my Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Hopefully
yeah.
this one works.
I was hoping you were going to freeze in a really weird face.
Yeah, it was like okay, that's awkward. No, yeah, I thought Artagan, Artie was going to be just gone, and Jester was going to be left alone. I'm frozen again, aren't I?
Laura's repping that 2020 Wi-Fi right now. Yeah, you're kind of choppy.
Happening?
You're choppy.
Oh no.
Travis is in the other room playing Call of Duty.
No, but he might
sucking
be.
all
What if
the
he's using
internet
the Wi-Fi right now.
Well, let him do it. He's owning 12-year-olds.
Should I text him?
Slaying right now. You should text him, but you should text him, but he's about to get a W, and now you're going to text him. He's going to look down at his phone. He's going to get sniped from 1,200 feet.
What if the internet just knows that I'm trying to talk about TravelerCon and it's just fucking it up just like TravelerCon was? It's just a tribute to TravelerCon.
Well, we can try one more time, and that's when we'll find out.
You seem okay right now.
I thought Artie was gone and Jester was going to be alone, and I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was going to have to find some new, deity or something, and we would have to go to the Feywild to rescue him. I really thought that all that shit was going to happen. I was devastated.
Man.
When it was happening.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of deity would you have tried to find after this experience, though? What would Jester have been drawn to after this whole experience, though?
I mean, probably the Moonweaver in an attempt to make amends, So
yeah.
I'm guessing that's where it would have gone. Yeah. And I talked to you, Matt, like the amount of times that I sat down to write something down for TravelerCon and really prep it out and have a speech prepared. And then every time I went to do it, I was like, this is just so wrong. Jester wouldn't plan it. I can't plan this because she gets so bored. She doesn't even plan a sending message. She can't sit still long enough to be like, okay, this is what we're going to say in a sending message, which is 25 fucking words. There's no way in hell she would be like, I'm going to plan out,
the whole thing. Well, can you tell us a little bit about the process of planning TravelerCon? You were looking forward to it for so long. Were you surprised by your own reaction to the whole concept of the cult itself?
Yeah. Yeah. If that cult hadn't been there and she hadn't seen what a false god can do to people, I don't think she would have come to the realization that what her and the Traveler were doing was detrimental to anything. And it wasn't just innocent pranks anymore. It was like, oh, we're fucking over people's lives hardcore, right? And I told Matt that if we hadn't decided, if he hadn't said, you know, I don't want to do this, like, what if we I don't know if it was Artagan that like suggested the Moonweaver or suggested we go to another deity. Maybe it was Caduceus.
No, that was you, Caduceus, and you. Yeah,
and you were like, "Yeah, let's do that." If you had been like full on, let's just pretend I ascended, I think Jester would have stepped down at Traveler Con, and she would have been like, "This isn't real. He's not real." Like, I don't think she would have seen it through.
That would have been freaking brilliant too, and interesting.
What are you drinking there, Matt?
Oh, this is the classic, delicious liquid known as Fruit Punch Crystal Light.
Oh, wow. Damn. Classing it up. That's amazing. For both of you, anyone can chime in here. How do you feel everything went with Traveler Con as a whole? I mean, with the party, with the confrontation with the Moonweaver, this has been building up for, God, it feels like a year.
Yeah, or even more.
Even more?
For me, I'm super happy. I had no idea what was going to happen, and I was keeping it that way. You know, like I built all the things around it. You know, the Village of Vo and all the challenges at Rumblecusp. Once it had been suggested by Jester, it was like, okay, everything around it's going to be, you know, interesting and fleshed out. But as the actual convention, I have no idea what's going to happen, and I'm keeping myself from doing that. And it's like this very scary, like, freight train that's just been slowly coming towards us for an extended period of time. And I'm like, well, we'll see when we get there. And then when we get there, I'm like, all right, Laura, what do you want to do? So I'm personally very happy how it turned out. It was every bit as much of a, keeping in with that analogy, as much of a train wreck as I was hoping it would be. And still have some of the very interesting character beats and, you know, mini arcs and kind of transformative elements to it that I was hoping would come through naturally in the narrative.
Yeah. I was hoping for a complete clusterfuck, and and we got it.
We did.
We did it.
Congratulations.
I mean, the Mighty Nine doesn't really know anything other than that. So it's, you know what I mean? It's on brand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The group's bailiwick.
But I did appreciate just the amount of like growth that Jester got out of it, and like self-realizations, and the way that her and the Traveler's relationship has changed through all of it. I didn't expect all of that to happen, and I'm so thrilled for all of it.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that, because there was such a big roller coaster there throughout the whole Rumble Cusp thing. What should we call it? What should we call this arc as we're looking back on it? You know, we have like the Chroma Conclave arc, you know what I mean? What are we going to call this?
It's true. Matthew?
Traveler Clusterfuck? Clusterfuck Con? No, I'm kidding.
Cluster Cusp.
Cluster Cusp. Yes, that's going to be, I'm going to change right now my Wi-Fi network name to Cluster Cusp.
Perfect. Dave does not approve.
Yeah, no, it sounds kind of...
That sounds really gross.
Yeah,
Whatever cluster cusp sounds extremely wrong.
I feel like Ashley would really dislike that term.
I feel like that's a lot of consonants that she doesn't like all crammed together. The dirtiness of it maybe wouldn't bother.
What about Rumblefuck?
Rumblefuck is pretty good.
Rumblefuck is my next D&D character.
Oh, give me some art of that. Yeah. No, but Laura, Jester's feelings about the Traveler were definitely on a whole, emotional roller coaster throughout the whole thing. Her friends had a little bit of an intervention. Was there ever a point where she considered literally just walking away from him?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Okay. It could have progressed to that point. Jester always gave him the benefit of the doubt and loves him with her entire heart. So yeah, if he would have not seen that what they were doing was not acceptable in his own way, then yeah, Jester would have probably walked away. Not necessarily. I don't know if she would have walked away from him, but if that's where it would have gone, then that's where it would have gone. Because yeah, it would have been a big issue for her.
How hard would that have been for her to just have to do that? I mean, obviously the circumstances would put her in that position, but that's still a big.
I have no idea what that would have meant for my entire character.
Right?
Like, I have no clue.
Right?
What it would have been. So.
Well, how does she feel about him now?
She loves him, but at the same time, she doesn't adore him without barriers, without any
boundaries or
She sees a little bit more of him, who he is, and the worshiping aspect that she had for him is not there anymore. It's not a full worship. She knows he's not a god, and she sees him more like another friend, So that's a complicated relationship for a cleric to have.
Yeah, I'm really interested to continue to see where it goes from here. It's very reminiscent of like the child who the first time they realize their parents are fallible.
Totally.
Where their entire world is that parents they know everything, they can do everything. There's nothing to worry about. And the moment that a child realizes that their parents can make mistakes, can be wrong, won't always be there, it's a big shakeup of their world. And kind of watching that happen with Jester has been extremely fascinating. I'm sorry. I'm such a fan of my players that I love watching the things they do and the way they react and how they carry the story. And yeah, I'm just been enjoying the hell out of this.
Oh man, me too. Matt, do you think Artagan, did I say it right?
You did.
Stop the show.
Go out on a high note.
I'm
right
1,423. Do you think he's actually learned his lesson?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Or as much as an archfey could? I mean,
he's been alive for a very long time. And when you've been alive for an extended period of time, old habits are hard to break.
As we know from Taliesin.
Exactly. But he has been living out. And then an archfey is, in some cases, in a similar vein as to like a demigod. They're not a deity, but they're extremely powerful. But they're extremely powerful in the Feywild. He's outside of his home zone, and so he's still a very powerful being in comparison to a lot of other entities out there. But he's free in a place that he doesn't have complete domain over, and he's been humbled a few times by the choices he made and the pursuit of this odd new power, leading him to a position where he took away his own freedom that he had been, wanting and coveting for so long. And then in doing so, and also ended up being humbled in the face of a god. And so I think he's definitely learned a lesson or a series of lessons to some degree. We'll see how far it sticks and where their relationship goes. I mean, it's fascinating the way the power balance and the relationship has changed with Jester. And in a weird way, him being a being that's always seen himself as untouchable and beyond most mortals, except for a few of his favorites, at least from my standpoint, he's weirdly having or beginning the process of learning to accept that he's probably a little closer to those mortals he never paid attention to. You know, I don't know. I'm very interested to see where this goes. Like I'm still kind of learning his perspective through all this. And I'm excited to explore where that goes from here.
Yes. Laura, I see you grinning over there.
Yeah.
Hey, have you felt like, you know how we've talked about on the show a bunch of times with other people in the cast, and even in campaign 1, we talked about this, but where, you know, there's several weeks or there's an extended period of time where in the game, the focus is on you. And how, you know, everybody sort of reacts to that differently. You know, Ashley kind of panics, you know, but back then she was going in and out, so it was a lot harder for her. How has this been, having kind of this ongoing thing that finally has come to head, and now we literally just have no use for Jester anymore? Like, this is all anyone was waiting for, and now her character arc is totally over.
I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna pull a Scanlan.
Well, are you going to start using healing spells now, or are you going to start mixing stuff up?
You're funny. Yeah, that's her new outlook. She's actually gonna be a healer. That's what she's learned.
I would love it. I would love it.
No, it was nerve-wracking. It was so nerve-wracking. I got so like every single episode because I didn't know where the game was going to go. And every single time I was like, okay, this is definitely going to be TravelerCon. And it just wasn't for so long. Yeah, so it feels, I feel very relieved that it's on to something else now.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun too. It was like, I feel like she was so emotional. Like I kept getting so emotional as her through all of this. And I was like, why is all of this pouring out? Like, where is it coming from? Like, why is she? And like having to come to terms with all the things that she's actually going through is, I don't know. It was just crazy. It was, but it was good. It felt good.
Yeah. It was so fun to watch. And I feel like you just nailed everything, man. The entire Dick volcano situation will definitely be a highlight of campaign 2 for me. It's like, it's going to be like Molly's death always. And then it's going to be TravelerCon. Matt, don't look at me through the computer like that. Danny, you too.
You're a terrible person, Ryan.
Ryan Foster.
Do you know what else I have missed besides being missed by literally millions of people around the world?
What, Brian?
It's cosplay of the week, Matt! Yay!
Cosplay of the week!
Oh, friends. Our winner was sent in by Natalie at Shield Maiden with 2 eyes.
Ooh.
Right, Danny?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Photo by at Ashenide. Let's take a look.
Oh,
Yes!
Yes.
Holy
gosh, is amazing.
Moly.
Which
Yeah.
con is this at? Can we
This
tell
is
which con this is?
C2E2.
Okay. Oh
is
my
C2E2.
God.
in the before times.
I know.
She looks
In the- I mean,
amazing.
Right.
Days before the before time. Oh my God. Look at that sword.
Yeah, the Magician's Judge looks amazing.
Look at
God,
those
every
pants.
part of
I
that.
just love the
chains.
attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at the strappy things on the legs.
God, the texture on the elements that are coming through the straps too.
Mhm.
Ah,
my
it's-
man,
oh,
that
it's
is
amazing.
deep. Yeah, that's detailed.
I love it.
So good.
That's hot. Not
Man.
gonna lie. That's hot.
It's so good.
I can see why Bo.
Into it.
Oh
That's
man, yes, amazing.
That's so cool. Congratulations.
Wow. That's a really
Hey,
good Yasha.
congrats to you, Natalie. You've won a $100 gift card to the Critical Role US shop.
Hey!
Can you believe it?
Dee.
You're getting a gift card to our exclusive. It's not exclusive. I don't know why it's to our gift shop.
Don't
to
don't
our
talk
US
shit about
shop.
the merchandise, Brian.
No, I'm not
About
talking
merchandise.
shit about the merchandise. You can enter our weekly contests by visiting critroll.com. Hold on. It's been
Big deal.
I gotta
What's
be
going on?
careful.
How's your shoulder, buddy?
I gotta
How's
be
your
careful.
shoulder?
People on Twitch, playing video games can pop their shoulders out. critroll.com /
Hey.
Oh.
submit.
Submit.
There it is.
This isn't live, so I can't see the whatever comes up on the screen, but hopefully something cool.
Submit.
Rules for our contest can be found at critroll.com. Man, I'm literally just as good at this as I was
Literally.
175 days since the last. Hey,
Oy.
Laura,
What?
don't say it like that. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you an insightful question.
What is it?
How's Henry doing over there?
He's good, buddy.
He's good.
Yeah.
You guys have the opposite hairstyle right now. His is going up, and yours is going down.
That's pretty cute, actually.
Aw.
I know, Matt.
That's
Next time
cute.
you're on Talks, I want your hair in cute little braids like Laura's.
I just got out of the shower right before we started filming, and I didn't have time to dry it, so I was like, braids.
Yeah,
Hey, it works.
It's-
I'll bring the Pike Fun Buns again next time. How about
Yes!
Yeah. Oh my God, those were
Yes!
so cute.
Those were a big hit, let me tell you.
that? Oh, boy.
I still, sometimes if I can't sleep, will go on Tumblr. Anyways, Laura.
Continue, please.
I was just telling you, Matthew, you should wear your hair up in the little half elven, half updo.
I actually really like that.
Yeah,
I
it looks
really like
good
that on
You
you,
should do
Matt.
more.
All right. The next time I'll do that. I'll
Okay.
bust out
because-
my Geralt outfit from Witcher 3.
Yeah.
Because he goes out so often and dresses up, and fixes his hair. This is the first time I fixed my hair in months,
Yeah. I took
Yeah.
a bath for this.
You took a bath for this?
Yeah.
We can't smell you.
I can.
Doesn't matter.
But look, he looks
Smell
so
it.
fresh and clean.
So fresh
Yeah.
and so clean. I know. That's the thing is that now that Talks is bi-weekly, I only have to shower every 2 weeks. Oh, wait, but I don't have to do that because I don't have to go in and see you guys.
That's true.
No. You just have to use like dry shampoo or something to make yourself look presentable.
I use Gold Bond. I typically will. Ash has asked that I start doing it outside the house, but I will typically go through about a liter of Gold Bond every. Okay,
Nice.
Laura, let's talk about.
I'm ready.
Jester definitely took a huge leap of faith, in pleading with the Moonweaver to release the Traveler.
Mm-hmm.
She found herself kind of caught between her god and the Mighty Nine.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you think she would have ultimately chosen then? If Artagan hadn't kicked her off.
Man. That's a really tough question.
That's because Danny came up with it.
Here's the thing, Danny.
Tell me.
If Fjordy hadn't jumped on my back,
Fjordy on
Jester
the
would have
back.
gone. Jester
She
would
would've
have
gone?
been like, I'm going. But him doing that, I mean, that's why I froze like I did, because I really didn't know where it was going to go. And thankfully already made that choice for me. Yeah, it was a really tough call. But if Ford hadn't been there, it would have been a much faster decision.
You had a very physical representation of your inner struggle.
Yes.
You're literally
Yes, I
being
did.
pulled in two directions.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Can we talk about duplicity?
What
you
about
have
it?
you have new
Not yet.
Oh, it's not yet.
No,
Okay.
that like the abilities the upgrade in duplicity comes, I think, at level 16 or 17.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're still 2 levels behind everybody else.
Yeah.
Jerk move, Matt, but I respect it.
Hey, I mean, you saw Traveler Con.
I did.
Go
everybody
down 2 levels for
else
that
leveled
shit.
up.
Yeah. Oh man, could you imagine?
Well deserved.
World's
Cheese
worst
sandwiches
DM.
with tomato. Back to 11.
Matt, we cannot discuss the recent events of Critical Role without talking about Vilya. So,
right.
that because we're going back to the whole thing with Sam figuring it out from the chat with the delay and all that stuff.
Yep.
But that reveal has been waiting to occur really since the beginning of of Critical Role.
Since she created her backstory, yeah.
So yeah, because I remember we talked about it in the talks campaign 1 wrap up. That came up as one of the questions because it's like whatever happened to Keelat's mom after that whole thing, and then you were a little
Cagey?
Yeah, you said
we knew she was still alive.
Yeah.
I knew she was still alive.
Well, talk to me about it, Matt. Talk to me about it. Both of you.
Well, when I got the original backstory from Marisha, I was like, in my head, I was like, her mother's probably still alive, just kind of lost to the chaos for reasons that I'll get to when we get closer to it. But I like the idea of there being an eventual reunion when it made sense. And that was as much as it was just a footnote in my head back then. And then as we progressed later in the campaign, and it became about Keyleth's, her journey of becoming this leader of the Ashari, and Zephyra, of her kind of stepping into her mother's footsteps. I never wanted to rob her journey by bringing her mother into it before it was complete. And it just, I don't know. As far as the narrative for the first campaign goes, there wasn't a beat that felt right for it, unless the players actively wanted to go and seek it out.
Oh yeah, yeah.
In which case, I would definitely, and I had that at the ready, though I hadn't quite fully decided. I didn't know, she's on Rumble Cusp, but the village of O, I didn't have that much developed. I just knew that she was on an island somewhere. I'd kind of plotted out the path of her escaping from the water elemental plane to someplace, coastal island-like, and there had been an issue with her memory as to why she never returned. And so if that ever came up, I would develop that in the story, but we finished the campaign without it really becoming a narrative beat. So I was like, well, I'll hold on to that for campaign 2, maybe. Yep. And so it just kind of put it in my drawer there as a possible
You put it in your drawers there.
Yep, put it in my drawers.
Put it in my drawers.
My story knickers, and just wore them there with a high belt.
Stand up and show them to us, Matt.
Oh, no, I'm good. Nice and comfy here. Yeah, and then as soon as we got to Rumble Cusp as a possible visiting location, in my head I thought of Rumble Cusp as, like, I had some elements of it developed, but that it was that moment that I really was like, this would probably be the island that Vilya is at. There's already a community there, people. I'd already developed the idea in my head loosely of there, being a memory loss aspect of those that were trapped there. And it's like, well, this would be the perfect time. So that was kind of how it came about.
Yeah. What was it like to reveal her to the Mighty Nine, who had obviously no idea who she was? And then what was it like to send her home to Keyleth?
Oh, it was delicious. That reveal was delicious. I was expecting them to pick it up on it. And here's the thing, too. It's different when you're at the table in the middle of the story, and because you're not just absorbing the narrative and what's going on around you, you're also have a second mindset of, like, what choices should I make in the moment? Is there something I can do about this? God, what spells do I prepared? What's going to happen next?
You're fully in the mindset of that character.
Exactly. Yeah. So there are details that are easy to pick up as an audience member than there would be for the players at the table. So while people in the community picked up on it rather quickly, and I knew they would because I had enough of a couple of things I wanted to seed in there, and I was wondering if anybody would pick up on it. But I was happy to find that they were so engrossed in their own story, they didn't quite figure it out until the reveal happened, which made it just perfect. And then getting to send her home was wonderful, both just from an idea of closure in the story, but also kind of as kind of a long waiting gift to Marisha and Keyleth as well. You know, like it's something that I've been looking forward to giving to her, and I was happy that we were able to.
Marisha, did she buy Taco Bell on the way home that night? She give you a little thank you, Taco Bell?
No, we drive separately.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
All the studio health stuff,
the safety precautions.
But no Taco Bell that night. Just getting home and her crying, and it was very sweet.
Oh man,
we talked about it a bunch.
It was so cool to see that happen, and man, I can't wait to ask her about it.
Sending spells so bad on.
You could.
On Keyleth.
Oh, on Keyleth? You don't know Keyleth.
I know. I wanted for Vilya to let me do it for her.
Oh.
I tried to offer it up. I was like, if you need anyone, you know.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just so I could hear Keyleth.
Oh. Well, speaking of Laura, what was it like for you to interact with Vilya as a player? Because, you know, here we are in this other campaign that's set, you know, in the future and all that stuff. There's been a lot of mystery around her character for a long time, what like Matt and I were just talking about, but you never met her as Vex, right? So what was that like as a player? Was it weird? Was it challenging?
No.
Okay.
I mean, not challenging. I mean, it was just like any other cool character that we meet, you know. I didn't know what she was capable of or anything. Yeah. And I don't think I let it seep in too much, other than a couple times where I was like, do you want me to talk to your daughter for you?
Yeah.
You know?
I knew it was going to come.
Yeah. But yeah, I know I tried to keep it jestery.
Yeah. Keep it jestery. That's our next bumper sticker.
There you go. I wasn't sure when she was going to go back. I was kind of like just gauging it when it felt right. There was a possibility of Vilya staying through TravelerCon and being there to experience all of that weirdness.
Oh,
and I was kind of like,
whoa.
I'm glad she didn't see the shame.
Well, I was kind of excited for the possibility of her just being there like,
what the fuck?
This is the thing you came here for? But when we got to that, like, you know, Traveler Eve or whatever, you know, the night before the actual event and everyone was partying, I was like, and then that conversation with Veth, I was like, nah, this is the right moment. It just felt right.
Mm.
Yeah. There was a part of me that was like, yeah, I could have probably role played more of them both, but that would have felt like more fan servicey than it needed to be. I kind of wanted it to be just a simple beat and leave the rest up to your imagination.
I see.
So
it was perfect.
You didn't want to Force Awakens it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Danny, save me from the Star Wars stands who are about to attack me and talk to me.
It was also just really perfect because you were able to close out Vilya's story really before all of the TravelerCon insanity. So it ended up being a really perfect beat because then she got to have her story be finished, and therefore TravelerCon and Jester's story got to kind of stand on its own. So
totally.
That was nice.
Yes.
It worked out well. I
Big
like when
time.
it works out.
Yep. Danny, is this the first time you've worn a choker since quarantine?
I think so, actually.
Because that's not something you want to just wear when you're like around the house, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is also the first time I've like looked nice since quarantine.
That is not true. That is not true. We've been on many Zoom calls together where you look perfectly nice. You don't act nice, but you
no, because
look
I'm talking
nice.
to you.
Well, yeah,
Thank you.
You know, we have a certain sort of hate relationship with it. No, but Matt,
You love me with your entire heart.
I do, and more. Other people's hearts. Matt, what was it?
Them.
Yes, Matt, what was it like to finally play Vilya? I mean, obviously, you don't want her to be a Keyleth carbon copy, but what were your inspirations for who she was going to end up being?
Well, initially wanting to make sure she wasn't too similar to Keyleth. You know, she was a mother. Had lived through a portion of the Armente, so she definitely had capability and a sense of leadership and being a guardian to a group of people, which is why her position in the Village of Voe as their spiritual leader was such a an easy fit for her when she arrived. And it was finding, I don't know, for me, it was trying to put myself in the mindset of a matronly like figure who couldn't quite recall the reason for that kind of maternal sense, if that makes sense. You know, she couldn't remember her family, and then when she did, that became everything. You know, a woman who had been away from her family for so long and had the opportunity or to eventually go back, but had to settle some things first. And so, you know, not being a mother, it's a lot of just trying to put myself in that situation, kind of feel those things empathically, and then just guiding the character reactions based on that. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to explain really how she came about. It wasn't like a layered, you know, character that I sat there and lived in for days or anything like you would for a performance. But just wanted to make it feel unique enough against Keyleth, but also not so unlike her that you wouldn't have a hard time seeing that familial relationship.
Oh, that was that was just so nice. That was also just so nice too, because, you know, we all just miss everything about campaign 1 so much, I feel like, constantly, even though, you know, we kept doing these amazing sort of one-shots and add-ons and special moments. The wedding was like, that's probably the best episode ever of Critical Role, right? Right, Danny?
I think so.
That's literally the best
up there.
episode. It's gotta be up there.
It's got everything. It's wonderful.
It's up there with the cows.
Yeah. If that wedding was the last time we get to see like an in-canon narrative Vox Machina story, I'd be happy with that.
You too, Laura?
Good send-off. It was a really good send-off for
perfect.
Vox Machina for sure. Yeah.
All right, enough about those idiots. Let's talk about your new character,
Let's
Laura.
talk about these idiots.
Jester tends to make friends wherever she goes. You think about like the hag, the dragon turtle, all the trees in Rumble
Dragon turtle.
But what inspires her thought process to try and talk and befriend pretty much any creature they come across, even if it's an antagonistic one, you know?
Everybody's interesting.
Yeah.
Except for Celia, she's a bitch.
Yeah, that's across the board. Everybody seems to feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you piss her off, she might just hate you forever. But everybody else, you know, she thinks is pretty great.
Yeah.
Jester can hold a grudge. She can hold a good grudge.
She can, but she can also be very forgiving. You know?
Oh, sure. If Celia would have come up and been like, I'm sorry, we got off on the wrong foot, genuinely. You know, I think you're pretty great. I, you know, would love to be friends. Jester would have been like, okay. Sure.
Of course.
You know, all you have to do for her is for her to apologize, and she'll take it wholeheartedly.
Of course.
That would have lasted up until the point where she realized that you really had no way of getting the dick out of her hand.
Exactly.
Which, even that is a phrase that I get to say in genuine honesty is great. But
golden.
Oh my God, when she got that dick stuck in her hand.
Because he said that only a wish spell can release it?
A wish
only
spell,
a wish spell can break it.
Or there's a magical item called the Universal Solvent, which is like the opposite of that. Also extremely rare. So yeah, good luck, Celia, wherever you are.
Yeah. Oh, that was so great.
She's going to be really into gloves.
Just really big gloves.
Boy.
At least, you know, that like when I pictured the carvings, when I pictured the dicks that I made for party favors, they were only about this big, you know? They weren't huge.
But the golden one?
The golden one, you know, could have been a little bigger.
That's what I thought.
Oh, man. Oh, boy. If only you had a green screen right now, Laura, the things that people...
I know.
Maybe it's better. Maybe it's better for you and
I appreciate that. You can just use these leaves. It can be like a little mini green screen.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Perfect. That That's going to be a tree of dicks. That is going to be a tree of dicks.
It can't be a tree of dicks. You can't show dicks if we're putting this on.
No, but somebody
Right?
can put it on Twitter. I'm not saying that I'm not accusing our post department
Our
of
team.
going to put dicks on there.
Somebody will make this a tree of dicks.
Yeah, exactly. Matt,
Yes.
speaking of a tree of dicks, let's go back and talk about Vokodo because you haven't been on the show since that happened because there's been no show.
True.
Vokodo was a really interesting and mysterious creature. So what was your inspiration for him?
The inspiration came from reading. I mean, it is a very heavily customized version of an existing D&D monster called a Morkoth, which when I read the new 5th edition lore for it, when the Mordenkainen's Magical, tome came out a while back, I was just intrigued by how they'd created this creature that it kind of creates an island around it. And it is this greedy entity that this very much like, it has ways of affecting the minds of creatures around it and getting them to come into its lair and give them all of their treasure and magical items and such. And I really, really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy that the creature was only medium in size. I felt like for like such an interesting, powerful creature, it's just kind of a lame little boop on the battlefield when it's finally revealed. And I wanted it to be something that was a little more changed by its experience and tying it into, creating its lore about the thing that it's fleeing from and the astral sea to get it here and bringing all these shards with it to kind of to be an example of it kind of changing the space around it with the variations on the island's topography and places that shouldn't exist there next to each other do. So I took that Morkoth idea and just heavily modified it, tailored it to the lore, kind of gave it the idea that it had been changed by its proximity to this volcano, and begun to kind of take on this kind of more elemental form, which caused it to grow in a similar way to like Thordak did in the first campaign. Like that much elemental energy nearby caused it to kind of swell and take on some of the elemental elements of its surroundings. So yeah, that was kind of the inspiration for it, and then just made it, tailored its abilities to the story I wanted to tell.
What was the ability that he had that caused all the mysterious stuff on the island? The memory loss, the theft of items, all that stuff. What was that ability?
The initial idea is that the Morkoth has a very strong kind of psychic presence on the island and kind of can always be aware of whoever is within its island space, which is how the party kept sensing that they were being watched at all times. But because it had been there for a while and kind of needed the people of the island to maintain its ecology, to bring it more things, to feed it and give it and harvest things that are of worth, because it did not want to leave that volcano. It was too scared to leave the volcano. So for that purpose, as it grew in power, it began to have more influence over the minds of the creatures on the island. And through that was kind of the mist was a visual cue of that sort of influence. And so it was me developing kind of the mutation of the Morkoth also caused a mutation within its powers to affect the minds of those that stayed for too long. And that was kind of the basis of that.
How did it steal our shit? How did it blip our stuff
That's
out?
what I want to know.
That is an actual Morkoth ability. Is within its island.
Shit blip.
It takes like
It's a spell.
It's spelled the shit blip ability. When a creature rests, short or long rest within its island, it's a chance for it to take an object from each creature, and based on perception rolls or investigation rolls, either it's recovered or it's not, and it finds itself essentially deposited within the layer of the Morkoth. And so that was one of the things that actually existed with the creature that I kept over and tailored into it, because it just add another layer of interesting mystery.
Oh man, that's so cool.
It was fun.
That Vokodo shit was also one of my highlights of campaign 2. So it's gonna be like Molly's death, Traveler Con,
Brian.
Vokodo, and then fan art of the week.
Yay! Fan art of the week!
Fan art of the week!
Oh
My God, that transition was so smooth. It's like I haven't taken a day off. It's like I've literally haven't stopped doing the show. It's like I've increased it to four nights a week instead of just once a week. You know what I mean? That's how we're back, baby. This week's winner was sent in by Jin at Callan Thee with 2 E's. Not the, it's the. You'll see. Let's take a look.
Oh, what? That's
So
amazing.
good.
Oh my
So
god.
good.
It's so
I
good.
love
Look
it.
at the little handhold.
I know.
Oh,
I love
them.
I love Artagan's face too.
I
It's so
love
good.
him.
yeah. Oh, that's so
I want
cool.
I want like a little card of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a little
Yes.
flyer.
I want not a card. I want a giant print of this.
I was
Like a
about to
poster.
say,
Yeah, it's kind of more of a
Framed out on my
poster.
wall. Yeah, that's incredible.
Beautiful. The details are just so gorgeous.
I love it.
Oh,
that's so cool.
wow. I love that.
That is a lot of detail.
Mm-hmm. Apparently,
Great
there
grasp of the
are
style,
like
too.
a bunch of dicks in the picture too that are hidden.
Really?
There's like a ton of
course there
hidden
are.
dicks.
Wait.
Oh, I was like, my mouth was
We're all
like
looking.
hanging open as I was.
I know all of us went
didn't
into
realize what I looked like.
all of us went into dick searching face.
Yes.
Now you all know what our dick searching faces look like.
Oh no.
I can't wait to see the screenshots. Ba-boom!
Oh,
Oh no.
Well,
You know what the
congrats.
only problem with like Zoom is?
What?
Is that like this is how I want to sit, like all slouchy, and I can't sit slouchy. I have to sit up straight for this.
I feel so awful for you.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm sitting on a stool. I don't have my normal Talks chair. I have done every
You're
episode
on a
of Talks
stool.
in the same chair. And now I'm on a stool in the back of my car that I live in.
there you
I'm
go.
scooting my chair up so that I can
There you go.
sit up
I
straight.
got my office chair here, along with the old dried bird poop from Dagon. It's just this is my natural habitat, guys.
Yeah.
Well, congrats to you, Jin. Let's not forget
Yay!
you've won.
Congrats, Jen.
You've also won a $100 gift card to the Critical Role US shop, which is full of incredible merchandise that you should get. Spend that gift card as soon as you can because stuff sells out pretty quickly.
Hell yeah.
Don't forget, you can enter our contest by visiting critroll.com/submit. We'll see what Max
Wow.
Shapiro does. Rules for our contest can be found at critroll.com. Moving on, who's next? Laura. Okay, we got to talk about how Jester feels about the visions she and the others received of the living city.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, talk to me.
I don't know what the fuck is going on with that thing. I don't know what's going on. It's creepy.
Do you agree it's something to look into more, or do you feel like they're overacting about it?
No. I mean, I think it's a vision that all of us shared and we all got like an overwhelming sense of dread over. Do we know that Caduceus is having ongoing dreams about it? I don't think we know that. Maybe we know that he's had one.
He definitely has said that he had dreams.
He had a dream,
said,
yeah.
I've been dreaming about it.
Okay.
So
Thank you. Thank you, Lore Keeper.
you're welcome. This is my
That's
job.
what she's here for.
Yeah, I think it's unnerving. I think that it's definitely something we should continue, especially if it is true that there's like a Molly connection, the Eyes of Nine or whatever that is. I don't know. It's just too much. We have to look into it.
It's all too much.
Weird mysteries.
Creepy mysteries.
Yes, I'm looking at Matt's face. I'm looking
Yeah, I
at
know.
Matt's face.
What are you planning, sir?
He's got
What
a
are you
he's got a
planning?
good poker face, man.
No, he really does. There are so many times during the game that like people are doing things and I'm just staring at Matt to see what his reaction is.
Same.
Yeah.
I there's definitely a look that he gives when y'all are discussing something and he loves just like the fact that you're trying to figure it out. He does this very like he
Yeah.
looks at each person that's talking and then he kind of nods and he's kind of thinking like, yes, I've caused all of this to happen. And and now I will use it all against you in whatever way
There's-
I can.
There's sometimes when I'll look at him and like, things are going on and he'll like look at me. And I swear it's like the traveler is looking at me in that moment. And I fully think like, okay, I'm having this moment with Artigan. Artagan. Artie.
How did I get it right the first time and you can't seem to get it right at all?
Because from the first campaign, I called him Artigan.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Like I saw it in my head in writing because I wrote it down. And that's just how my brain went.
But I'm pretty sure
I realized I was wrong.
I'm pretty sure that's how a lot of us actually pronounced it back then, though. Danny,
I also called him Artigan for ages.
When
and
you
then it was only this campaign where I was like, oh, it's Artagan?
Oh, Artagan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops.
Matt does that, though, he changed it. He does that just to mess with people. Yeah,
me.
Exactly. Hey,
Vengeance for Pervan Soul.
Dang, Matt's holding the long grudges.
Incredible callback.
Can you believe it?
Remember everything.
Matt,
never forget Pervan.
Pervan, is that what you say?
Yeah.
Matt, let's go back to the Vokodo fight.
Yes.
So you said during the battle that you had picked who the disintegrate spell would hit if it had ricocheted off of Vokodo. So who did you pick? We got to know. We got to know who it was going to be, man.
Well, initially I wanted to choose Caleb, like back at himself, because the immediate threat of that ray towards Vokodo, it would have been just right back at him, like, no, fuck you. But Caleb also has that ring that allows him to automatically succeed a dexterity saving throw. Mm-hmm. So if it wasn't, it would have been kind of a meta knowledge for me to know. So it would have been less impactful because he would have just been like, oh, I automatically succeed. I'm like, oh, well, no way, but that's my fault for choosing that. But as a meta DM knowledge element of like what would have twisted the knife the most and what would have functioned would have been Jester. That would have been the runner up.
Laura, your thoughts?
So when Caleb was doing that, I could tell from Liam's gameplay that he didn't realize that if it had happened that somebody was going to die, like die, because he was just so gung-ho about it. And I think only like 3 of us at the table like fully understood that somebody could be gone forever just from that one move. And I thought it was going to be me because I had been the one to banish him. So
that's what it was. That's why it would have been Jester. Because the Caleb, the disintegrate ray, the danger would have been there, but in the moment too, the logic for him was Jester was the one that sent him back to the Astral Sea, the one place he did not want to go. And so that's why it would have been Jester as the next choice that I made after the initial reaction.
Yeah. So I was prepping to die there because my points were too low. If it would have hit me, I'd have been out and disintegrated. So no coming back from that.
Which, by the way, disintegrate turns whoever it kills into dust, but you guys are underwater, so it would have turned you into mud.
Yeah.
Which is awful.
Just
the question is, Danny,
like fish poop consistency, right? Like
like fish poop consistency. Danny, do we think that the Mighty Nine would have gone to Traveler Con without Jester if she had died?
No.
Well,
hell no. They would have been like, they probably would have been like, hey, Traveler, bring her back. Fix it. That probably would have been hey, this is your fault. You're the reason why we're even fucking here. You fix this right now. Sorry, I got like really like upset about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, you did.
No, but that's okay. That's what the show's for. This is a passionate program, man.
I cannot even imagine like how much they would have been like, if you don't fucking fix this right now, we're taking our frustration out on you and we're going to murder an archfey just so we feel a little bit better.
Yep. Just for that
tiny
little bit of good feeling.
Wow.
That's exactly what probably would have happened too.
Yep.
Man.
It's fun to think about. It's fun to think about.
that battle too, like once again, that was an example of how players acquiring information about their quarry in advance really changed the tide of that fight.
Yeah.
Knowing where he had come, like that Caduceus divine intervention to learn about it was probably the only way they could have acquired any knowledge about what the creature was and kind of where it came from, because there was no place to really research on the island. So like it was
no
a
library.
Storm. Yeah, it was a perfect storm of the only way this information could have come across, and that information allowed you all to prepare the right kinds of abilities to essentially keep Vokodo on his toes and distracted, wasting his actions, trying to flee and reposition, and essentially not going all out against you because he was continuously afraid of something else breaking through from where he originally came from. And as a dungeon master, there is an element of frustration of not being able to utilize your main boss of, a story arc to its fullest. But from a dungeon master perspective, there's also a great sense of pride that your players have been able to set it up in their favor that way. So it not just balances itself out, but they left me with a very satisfied feeling of like, elements of the fight maybe weren't as dangerous as I had hoped, but that's only because the players succeeded in preparing it properly and should be rewarded thusly. So it worked out great.
But it shows that you're a good and well-balanced DM, that you get happy about that stuff. And, you don't only get happy when one of your characters dies.
Yeah, I'm sure there are a lot of DMs out there that probably would have, still wanted to fight with everything they had and not taken into consideration,
Yeah.
extra motivations. Like, I feel like what Veth and Ford did in that fight with the illusions and stuff really turned the tide.
Oh
Yeah.
Got him that clutch counterspell.
Oh my god.
Baby. Ooh, baby. Laura, these past few episodes, there's been a lot of side conversations about Jester without her being a part of them.
Yeah.
What's that been like to hear everyone talking about you and your character's decisions, but you're not able to really react or respond? So, like, you know what I mean? This is always something so interesting in D&D where you're sitting at the table, but then you're not,
Yeah, it's this weird thing where it's really fun to hear what everybody's perspective is on something, and not be able to use that at all in your interactions with them. And I think everybody does a really good job of not using that knowledge. But yeah, everybody's very protective of her. And I think it's interesting how everybody, and like, not just at the table, but so many people just don't don't trust the Traveler, like think that he's a bad guy. And even like my sister who's watching the show, she's like, I don't trust that Traveler. And I think it's great because Jester she's like, no, he's really wonderful, you guys. You don't understand.
I can change him.
I can change him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I thought that a few
It is
times.
such a fucked up relationship.
I thought that a few times.
It's an interesting dynamic. Of all
He's
the themes
just
I
going
wanted
through
to
a hard
explore,
time.
right? All the themes I wanted to explore with this, the Traveler Jester relationship is a very unique one, and one that I'm being very careful with.
Yes, because
it can go into a dark path, which I don't want to, and I don't want it to even lean that way.
No, but we can tell you're taking great care, Matt. Like, honestly, you can really tell. And Laura, obviously we talk so much about like player comfortability and whatever else, but the dynamic that the two of you have as these two characters is just, it's unbelievable. And I feel like you're handling it well. I can see where it could get into dangerous territory, but you guys are so hyper aware, and Matt, you're such a sensitive DM that, is obviously very aware of how these stories also affect people that watch the show. So,
and this is it.
Everyone's in good hands.
There are, unhealthy elements of their relationship, very much so. And that's what makes it interesting to explore. And that's what makes Jester her recent epiphanies with her relationship with, the Traveler is so interesting and satisfying in some ways. A lot of her story, kind of in some ways unexpectedly from where we first started the campaign, have been about disillusionment and about kind of coming into your own power versus living by the power of somebody else under somebody else's shadow.
Yeah.
And it's
eyes open.
Yeah. And it's been hard for Jester. And there are times where my heart breaks watching her react to these things that I'm, narratively putting her through and putting her in these positions to make tough choices and tough realizations. But those are interesting things to pursue and learn and watch evolve as well. It's just being aware of the paths that it could unintentionally take in exploring an unhealthy relationship through a role-playing game and kind of knowing where to put the bumpers when you need to not go beyond what your players are comfortable and interested in exploring.
Yeah.
Right. And at the same time, paying respect to the character because, it's one thing to look out from an outside view and go, this is problematic. There might be some unhealthy things happening, but that change, those realizations don't happen overnight. It is one little thing at a time, maybe to get to that point where you see something for what it really is. And I think everybody, in the group has been so supportive of letting her see her worth outside of that relationship. So
yeah, and
encouraging that in her big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as we saw in the recent conversations, and Artagan said it a little bit, but Artagan at the end of campaign 1 versus Artagan right now in campaign 2 are different.
In what ways?
In the ways that Jester has changed him, and and maybe a smaller extent, a few other people that he's been involved with over the years as worshippers of the Traveler and such. But he came into this world of a purely selfish being of id and impulse. That's how he was last campaign, and he still has those dark tendencies and can lean those dark paths. Whenever Jester kills a creature with a horrible, spell, that's an extension of his cruelty as well. But he's, he went from a purely chaotic, selfish creature to unintentionally beginning to care for things that aren't people, that aren't him. And it's been interesting to kind of, for me, internalizing his journey and how Jester has changed him, both from growing up and watching her as friends in the chaos and through their journeys even recently, and TravelerCon especially has definitely left a mark on him. And him realizing how this little mortal tiefling has had such a large impact on who he thought he was has been a very surreal part of, I think, his humbling as well, being like, oh shit, I let them in.
Yeah. Laura, do you have any thoughts?
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. How does Sam know when we're taping this?
No.
How does he? I'm not answering it. I'm literally not answering it. Matt? Nope, I'm not going to do it. He doesn't get his moment. It's the first episode back. He can come in 6 episodes down from now and FaceTime in if he wants to. We're not doing it the first episode back. I'm sick of it. Matt.
Yes.
How excited are you for the party to get to Eiselcross and Aor? Did I say that right?
Yeah. I'm excited. It's a very, very different location.
I was going to say it's different in than anything else you kind of described in Exandria so far.
Yeah, the closest they've been was their journey between Uthadurn and the getting to the forge.
Blueberry cupcakes.
Yes, exactly. That's the closest they've had. But even this, a lot of Eiselcross is above the timberline. Trees just don't grow there. This is far north, and is a very strange alien place that I'm excited to explore and see how the players react to it, and see what they discover, and what this part of the journey entails. I'm super excited.
Laura?
Huh?
Are you excited?
Yeah.
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 Hey, but we got to talk about your mom, because after this island adventure, you were able to go back and reunite with your mom. What was that like after everything that just happened? What was it like to finally get to see her again and talk?
Like a warm blanket. It was just it felt really nice. It's so weird to have that kind of like emotional response to something that's not, actually real, and to like feel in that moment that, that Matt's my mom.
I know we talked about that.
It's so weird.
I love it. Yep.
But yeah, it feels so nice whenever the story brings us back to Nicodranas and I get to see her. She's just such a beautiful person.
And she recognized how heavy your heart was before. So are you finding it easier to open up to her now, or did you still feel the need to put on the brave face?
No, yeah, I think Jester is kind of getting past that point of needing to put on the mask. She's finally allowing people to see her ups and downs in a way that she never thought that she'd be able to. So, yeah, mommy included.
That is something that I know a lot of people really wondered about Jester's arc as we first started to sort of see the way that she handled situations. Is she always going to just sort of go, put on a happy, or
I think that's why Traveler Con, I think that's why I did have so many fucking like breakdowns in that arc, is because she hadn't done it. She hadn't let anybody do that, and she really hadn't let herself do that. So it was extra like vulnerable when somebody like sees it, when you finally allow somebody to see that crack in your armor. And then it just kept coming. Once it was out, it was like, oh shit, now I'm doing it again. Oh no, now I'm doing it again.
Yeah. That's how it is in life, though.
That's what therapy's like, right?
That's what, exactly.
Kinda,
exactly. Exactly.
Again, like,
except
role-playing games are a version of therapy if you play the story right.
Yep. Except it's more expensive.
Depending on how many books you buy, yeah.
It's true.
Well, my dice habit is more expensive, that's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Hey, gang.
Hey.
I recently went through a move. Very recently.
To a new car?
Yeah, from one car to another. Yeah, I went from a 96 baby blue Ford Bronco to a 97 baby blue Chevy. What's the name of the Chevy? Wait, what's the Chevy version of the Bronco?
Fell apart right before the finish line.
What's the Chevy version of the Bronco? Where's my fiance who knows more about cars than I do?
I don't know.
That was very sad. Continue.
That was a sad moment. I'm glad we all witnessed it.
Shut up. I recently moved, and I realized that I have a lot more dice than I thought I did. And it's a little bit of an issue here because I don't really know. I'm going to have to build some sort of, because I don't have them separated into, I have the Laura Bailey dice bag, but I have them separated by sets. I don't have them separated by, number.
Oh.
But now I'm thinking I might just make this entire wall here just dice.
Wait, you have the bag, but you only have, do you have multiple sets in each pocket?
Every pocket is a different set.
Yeah, that's not that many sets, bro. That's like 10 sets or 8 sets or something. I don't know how many
pockets no, but what you're not seeing over there in the corner is things I got from the Do It Center that have drawers and drawers and drawers of dice.
Lend some to Ashley.
I offered, but I think the dice that I bought her for her birthday are the ones that she's rolling like shit on. And
buy her new ones.
But she keeps rolling, but her birthday's not for another year. I can't buy her dice if it's not her birthday. It's literally in the D&D relationship rules.
Yeah.
She is rolling like shit, though, and we've got to do something about it.
She got better recently.
She got better.
She did. That
She
last
got better.
episode, she was rolling a lot better.
She did, just because she's...
Maybe she like did a ritual over her set.
She told me she stole some dice from your giant bag because you wouldn't notice.
I'm sure she did.
You know what sucks about and Danny's going through this too, but do you know what sucks about the pre-taping of the episodes and them not airing live at the same time that because is that Ashley comes back home from the studio and she go and then I say, was it the Vokodo fight? And she goes, it was. Yeah. And I go, well, are you dead? Is and she goes, you have to wait and see, buddy.
Yeah.
Yes.
She won't tell me anything. It's just
That's
like the
what I did to
home
my
game.
sister, too.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like this one bit. I revolt.
Make you wait.
I have 2 questions that I ask Marisha after every single game, and they are, did anyone die? And did anyone make out with anyone?
Those are the important questions.
Of course
these are my
you
questions.
would. Of course you would.
Ooh, I wonder if something's going to happen soon.
I know. Matt, our last question of the night, we've been here for a while, is about Dimble Thadine. Did I say that right?
Sure.
Come on.
Who?
Come on, Matt. How is it?
Thadine.
I know. I'm just kidding with you. I had to get them all right and get one wrong, or the people are going to think there's something wrong with me. If I go back to back, they're going to think it's something wrong with me.
No, it's been long enough to the point where I had forgotten most of your shtick. So it's just being especially impactful to remember it right now. So...
Well, the only conversations we've had for the last several months have been out of character. So you're getting
true enough.
You're getting the real me. Dimble Theodine is
continue.
Obviously a fantastic new shopkeeper for the night to visit, and her wares seem especially tailored for somebody like Jester, though. Really, so. What was your inspiration for the
those
Goliath?
stones are the best thing ever.
I know the oopsies. What was your inspiration for the Goliath and her joke shop items?
Partially, I want to reinforce that the purchasing of magical items is a rare thing in the world. It's not like you go down to your local 7-Eleven and pick up some magical items necessarily. Low level stuff are more accessible for lower level enchanters and such. But especially given the fact that there has been a war, especially in Rexentrum and locations like that are very heavily influenced by the Cerberus Assembly, any real powerful items would have been, confiscated and brought to the front lines to be utilized in those conflicts. So it led to a bit of a challenge whenever the players are looking to purchase magical items and such. And so if, a couple of locations they have access to, they're lucky if they find a magical item, an odd, artifact that is for sale from somebody. For this particular shop, I was thinking about what kind of person would run a shop in the middle of Rexentrum in which they are surrounded by extremely powerful mages that keep a very firm control over major powerful enchantments. How would they build a business with a bunch of really small, shitty enchantments?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I took a lot of inspiration as a kid, like growing up. I loved novelty shops. I loved, joy buzzers and the dollar zipline gag and like stink bombs. Like I love that.
Did you ever go to Suncoast in the mall? Remember Suncoast?
Oh, I remember Suncoast.
I was thinking about Suncoast earlier.
But like there was a place in LA when I was younger called Wacko. That was a shop out here that had a bunch of just interesting, weird, odd things, and it had some novelty things you could purchase. And so that was kind of my inspiration for this magic shop was the idea of just a place that sold a lot of weird knickknacks and collectibles and a bunch of slightly shitty enchantments.
I loved it. I don't think I've seen a shop like that in a D&D game before. I love that.
Yeah, just kind of a mass production of low-level magical items, like super low-level, mostly just silly. I didn't expect them to buy them all out, though I should have in hindsight. But it was more just like making a couple of really silly magical items that have very, very corner case situations they would be actually useful and just give them to the players and see where the fuck they use them in the story, if at all.
Yeah.
That dust of deliciousness I was like, I don't fucking know what or how or if this would be useful or interesting, but I'll give it to him. Like those are not my favorite items to create. Are the ones that I'm like, this is weird. I don't know how the hell it'll be useful, but take it and surprise me. Apparently, a year and a half later.
Yes,
So.
I mean, and again, Laura, I have praised you for this so many times, but it's Molly's death. Okay, dust of deliciousness. Traveler Con. All of them have to do with you, except for Molly's death. You were trapped in a cage at the time. If
pushing out a baby.
Well, yeah, I was talking about out in the game, but if you want to talk about it, yeah, but anyway. Well, that is all the time we have for tonight. That's it.
Oh man, I feel like there was so much more to talk about.
There is, and there was, but we've obviously taken a lot of your time. And we're going to keep talking. We're going to keep talking about all these episodes the next time both of you are on. But I would like to thank Matthew and Laura for joining us tonight. As always, the wonderful lore keeper of Critical Role, Danny Carr. I just want to say before we go, I know it's really hard out there for a lot of you folks, and we've missed you a ton. We're so glad we're able to bring both Critical Role and our flagship show, Talks Machina, back to you to hopefully cheer you up throughout your week. But we're glad to be back. And as always, don't forget to love each other. And don't worry, it's almost Thursday. Stay turnt, my friends.
Man.
Stay turnt, my friends.
Bye.
We'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll see you in 2 weeks.